Welcome to Chili Clings, Portland District Library's latest middles art project. My name is Eileen, and I'm going to be taking you through our project for today. In just a minute, we're going to go over what you got in your Take and Make bag when you registered for the program here at the library. That bag is going to have everything that you need to complete today's project. Then we're going to I'm going to go over step-by-step instructions for how to create our glittery snowflake window clings. Middles, you might need some help from an adult or maybe an older sibling in your house during certain parts of this project. So if at any point you need help, make sure to ask for some. All right, are you guys ready to get started? Let's get to it. Everything that you see here on the table in front of me is what is in your Take and Make bag, including the actual plastic bag, because that is actually going to be a big part of the project today. So what you received is a template with 6 different snowflakes, a piece of gray construction paper, a paper plate, 2 bottles of puffy paint, and then a little snack bag with 3 different containers of glitter. You should have a dark blue, a lighter blue, and then a little bit of silver. And then you're gonna have your plastic bag that all your supplies came in. And the first thing that we're gonna do is we are gonna set up our workspace. And the paper plate and the gray piece of construction paper is actually to help us make sure that we can reuse some of the glitter after we've sprinkled it onto our puffy paint. So you should unfold your piece of gray construction paper and lay that out in front of you. Then what I'm going to advise you to do is to fold your paper plate in half. And I did forget to mention that if for some reason you're missing any of these supplies, please make sure to contact the library. We always want to make sure that everybody has all the supplies that we've promised. So, all right, I folded my paper plate and then I've unfolded it. And again, that's going to help us get the glitter back into our little container so that we can reuse it for more snowflakes. Then I've got my laid out piece of construction paper. And then what I want you to do is take that plastic bag that has our Chili Clings label on it, and I want you to put it on the gray sheet of paper with the label face down. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick our template paper inside of the plastic bag, okay? So we've got that inside of the plastic bag. And it doesn't matter what color puffy paint you got because the glitter is going to cover it entirely. So I actually made some of my samples using the black just because I wanted to test it to make sure that the glitter covered everything, and it does. So today I'm going to use black and neon orange just to show you guys. All right, and then what we can do is we're gonna get our other supplies kind of prepped and ready. So I'm gonna get my glitter out of my little sandwich bag and lay those out in front of me. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our puffy paint to trace over all of the snowflake templates, but we're gonna do it one at a time. And the reason that we're gonna do it one at a time is because we're gonna go ahead and lay the puffy paint down, and then we're gonna sprinkle the glitter on, and then we're gonna shake off the excess glitter and put it back into our container. So that's gonna be our step-by-step for each one. Puffy paint, glitter, shaking off the glitter, and putting it back into the container, and then doing those 3 steps over again until we have our 6 snowflakes done. And today I'm going to show you 2 of the snowflakes as the examples, and then you can continue the other ones by yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open my first thing of puffy paint. And the important thing to remember here is that you're going to be squeezing pretty hard on the puffy paint container, and you're going to want to cover the entire outline that's printed. So we want the puffy paint to be really thick. That way, once they've fully dried, it'll be easier to peel them off of the plastic bag. So once they've completely dried over 48 hours, then we're gonna peel them off. And if you don't do the puffy paint quite thick enough, then it's going to be harder to peel them off. So again, go the thickness of the lines that you see printed on the paper. And again, we're just going to be tracing them. So I'm going to just start off by lining up my puffy paint container. And again, don't be stingy about how much you use. All right. And you're going to want to probably hold the plastic bag with one hand and then just carefully work on outlining. And they don't have to be perfect. The glitter does a lot to hide some of the imperfections. And if for some reason you do make a really big oopsie and you feel like you have to fix it, then you can just try to wipe off the puffy paint with some paper towel. But take your time, and again, just take your time in tracing each of the parts of the snowflake. And what I found was to work furthest away and then closest to me. That way I don't risk like smudging anything. One of the first ones I didn't do it that way, and then my fingers kept hitting, the side of my hand kept hitting things, so. And if at any point you feel like I'm going too fast, like you need to catch up, go ahead and pause the video. I don't want you to feel rushed. Everybody does arts and crafts at a different pace. So take your time. And sometimes you might have to shake your container of puffy paint. That's going to happen more frequently as you use more of it. And my hand did get tired when I did a few of these in a row, so I did have to take a little bit of a break. And there's nothing wrong with that. All right. I'm just over halfway done with this first one. And I'll go over this again at the end of the video, but when we're done with all of these, you are gonna wanna wait a full 2 days to let them dry. So a full 48 hours you're gonna have to wait. But I promise you it'll be worth it. If you don't wait the full 48 hours, you risk not letting the puffy paint dry all the way. They may look dry and they may feel dry to the touch, but on the very inside, it could still be a little squishy. So again, we're gonna wanna wait a full 2 days to let them dry. And that was honestly one of the hardest parts for me because I was so excited to see what they were gonna turn out to be like on the actual window. But again, I promise you it'll be worth it if you just wait the full 2 days. All right, so here is my first finished snowflake. And now I'm gonna put my puffy paint to the side. And I'm gonna start with my first color of glitter. If you want to, you can mix and match the glitter. I like them to be each individually their own color. So I'm gonna start with the dark blue. So I'm just gonna take the lid off the container, and then I'm gonna sprinkle. I don't wanna dump the whole container at this point. I just wanna sprinkle the glitter over the different parts of the snowflake. So I'm just kind of holding the container and then tapping my finger on the side. And I've used about half of the blue. And you can see that I've covered the black puffy paint pretty well. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick this up and give it a little shake. Tap, tap, tap on the table and just a little bit of a shake. All right, and then my next step is gonna be shaking the glitter onto the gray paper. So I'm gonna shake, shake, shake as much of that off as possible. And my template moved a little bit, but that's okay because I can just move it right back. So I'm gonna shake, shake, shake that. And then what I'm gonna do, and I just found it was easier to use the paper plate to pour it back into the cup. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this construction paper and kind of fold it up, and then I'm gonna pour that onto my paper plate. If you feel like you can do it right from the construction paper, go ahead. But I'm gonna actually put my cup right back onto my construction paper and then use that paper plate to pour that glitter right back in there. And then we're gonna set our paper plate aside. All right, then we're gonna pull this back over, and as I mentioned, my template kind of got moved, so I'm gonna move it back over a little bit. And there we have the first of our 6 snowflakes. And now I'm gonna move on to this one here. And this time I'm gonna use my orange puffy paint, just so that you guys can see that the glitter does in fact cover each and every one of our bright or dark colors of puffy paint. And the nice thing about this is that you can kind of move your template around, again, so that you don't bump it in any way with your other hand. So here we go. This one you can probably actually see easier in terms of me tracing it, since it's a completely different color than the black puffy paint. So I'm just gonna start up here and do a nice thick layer covering the black. And again, you really don't want to see any of that printed template. You really want it to be nice and thick. And I just had kind of like a little bubble squirt out, and so I just used the tip of my puffy paint container to smooth that out a little bit. And you want to make sure that every single piece is connected. That's really important. That's going to be important again when we peel them up off of our plastic bag after our full 2 days of waiting for them to dry. As I mentioned earlier, the waiting for them to dry was the hardest part for me. So I actually wrote a note to myself right on a piece of paper and stuck it to the bag that told me when I was allowed to peel them off. So if you find that you're an impatient person, or you might forget how long you have to wait, I would recommend that you write yourself a little note. So you can see I'm about halfway done, a little over halfway done. All right, I've got just 2 more little parts here to finish. Then we can do the glitter part. Oh, big bubble squirt out there. All right, so there we have my second snowflake. And this time I'm gonna pick the lighter blue glitter. So again, I'm just gonna take it, my little container, and lightly tap on the side until I've covered the puffy paint so that I can't see it anymore. All right, I'm gonna set my little container aside. I'm gonna kind of take my bag here and just shake it a little bit, Tap, 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 shake, shake, shake. That gets it into all the little nooks and crannies of our snowflake. And if you find that once you've dumped your glitter like onto the paper and put it back into the container, and you find that you can still see some of the orange or whatever other color you might have, then you can go ahead and do the whole thing. You can do the shaking of the glitter right over it all over again. So don't be afraid of messing this up. It is art, and sometimes we have to test things and redo. And all right, so I'm pouring my glitter onto my gray construction paper. And now I'm going to set my bag to the side. I'm going to take this and fold it up and tap, tap, tap. And then dump it onto my paper plate. And then take my container and set it there. Take my paper plate and pour that all into the container. All right, so again, my template slid a little bit, so you can just kind of stick your hand in there and move it back to its original spot. And so I did 2 examples on camera with you, and now I want to encourage you to do the other 4 that you see here. And if you still have more puffy paint in the end, and you have another plastic bag maybe at home, or if you want to wait after the 2 days and do some more snowflakes once these have dried and you've peeled them up, that's great too, but you can make probably more than the 6 with the supplies that we've given here today. So the last thing that I want to show you is after the full 2 days, what will happen when they're fully dried. So I'm going to clean up some of my supplies, and then I'm going to show you how to peel them off of the plastic bag properly. So here is the sample that I made, where I'm going to show you how to peel them off once they have completely dried. So this one has been drying for 2 full days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the bag, and I can take the template out. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to slowly peel off all the different edges. And if you have trouble getting them to come off, one of the tricks that you can do is actually put them in the freezer and for just a couple minutes, and then they should peel right off. And now you can stick them on glass or a mirror or anywhere else that you think that they will stick. Today creating your homemade window clings, and as always we would love to see any pictures or videos of you completing today's project. If you want to share those with us, you can send them to us at the email address going across your screen now. And thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.